All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. I appreciate you taking the time. Today, we have a wonderful presentation that's going to be held by Melinda Holt. Melinda?
Hi. I don't know if it's going to be wonderful, but I'll do my best. Wow, there's still people coming in. I'm looking at all the states here and going, OMG. I mean, what a wonderful organization that we have people from Arizona and New York and Pennsylvania and Virginia. I used to live there. Uh, Arizona, I used to live there. New Mexico, I used to live there. I used to live in a lot of places. So it's great to see all of you. Texas is here. Woohoo! Washington, D.C. is in the house, state capital. Yay! So this is great. This is so great. So thank you for being here. I know most of you are off. So um, thank you for attending. I believe this is being recorded. So tell your friends if they weren't able to get here that there was a presentation today. So I'm sorry, I paused there because I'm trying to get there we go, my Google going. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we are going to get started with this wonderful, as Michelle says, presentation. Just a quick note here. I am not looking at the chat. So I know more people are coming in. You're coming in from different states. Yay! Welcome. But if you have questions, not questions, if you have questions regarding something that I'm going to be showing or talking about, please put it in the Q&A because that's where I'm going to go. That's where I'm looking right now. And I will try and answer them we as we progress through. So I love questions. They lead us down learning paths that we might not have talked or gone down. So please ask questions in the Q&A. Michelle, I'm going to ask you, you don't have to unmute, but I'm going to ask you to, if you see anything that's like, ooh, she missed that one, that's a really good question, please go ahead and unmute and let me know, please. So this presentation is Connect and Engage with Googles. Now, I know you were all sent a different title. There's a long story behind that. I'm not going to bore you. But this presentation started out as just connecting with students, and it was very short. And I was asked questions during the presentations when I gave it. So I added slides based on those questions, and those questions were more about engagement. So we're going to talk about connecting, just like what was in the description that you were all sent, but we're also going to talk about engagement. So because in order to keep your students connected, you have to engage them. You have to make it fun, or you have to make it interesting, or they have to be invested in what you are trying to teach them. So we're going to go over maybe some possible things that you don't know about, or some things you haven't thought of before, or maybe some things that you have thought of before and they just kind of fell off the plate. So reminders. Okay. By the way, my name, for those of you that don't know, my name is Melinda Holt. Probably should have started with this. I am a technology integrations project specialist too. I don't know what all that means. I actually work for the Sacramento County Office of Education and a leadership project in California called Outreach and Technical Assistance Network, OTAN. So that's my current job. I am also a Google trainer. So I also get to go and do trainings for other entities on my off time, like today, and present the Googles. I love the Googles. And if you've attended any of my presentations in the past, you know that I am a Google certified educator, trainer, been a trainer for quite a few years now. And I am also they don't have this anymore, Google Cloud certified. I'm also a Google admin. So I am going to point out this right here is my email address. And I know I'm not sharing it bigly or hugely. I'll make this a little bit bigger here. Yeah, full screen. I would, but take my word for it. You don't need to see this yet. Okay. Just kind of squint. All right. Because I want to show you live. We're going to show the slide real quick, and then I'm going to go live and actually show you how to do it. So that will be the big screen. Okay. This what is it? Oh, certified admin. So my email address is right here. You are going to get this presentation. I'm going to show you the bit.ly link. You'll be able to look at it. I'm going to show you how you can look at it. And there's also a PDF available that is stuck in time. We'll talk about that in a minute. Why am I telling you about my email address? Because I am also a certified admin with Google. Now, I've helped other states. There was somebody in Vermont that went, oh, we can't figure out how to do blah, blah, blah. So I told them to send your tech to me and we can fuss and discuss. So we did, and we figured out what was wrong. Boom, fix the problem for them. And this is during COVID when this school really needed to have this one thing turned on. So it's usually just a checkbox. It's just, okay, I'll hit slideshow. All right, but I'm going to come out of this. Okay, so just be prepared. I'm going to come out of this. So anyways, if you have any, if I show you something, you go, well, I can't do that. Please email me. Okay, make sure you put COABE in the message somewhere so I know, that you watch this or that you're with the organization, and I will answer you probably within 3 to 5 business days. Okay, it'll probably be sooner, but ask me. Ask me anything about the Googles and I can help you. Ask me anything about devices that are going to be used with your program. If you're even if you're just trying to figure out, which Chromebook's better than you, I can help you with that. Just email me. Okay. All right. Next up, this may or may not be what we go through, so I'm not going to go over this real quick. However, these do have links to slides in this section. So if I want to know, what is she talking about with search? You just click on that and it will take you to that slide. And when I get to it, you will be able to go back and forth. So it just dawned on me that, that was too fast. It just dawned on me that I don't have my little TOC button. So usually I have a little button in the top right-hand corner that'll take you back to this, what I'm going to call an agenda. Okay, that will be put on the dynamic one, not on the PDF. Okay, so now you're probably going, well, Melinda, where's the thing? So here we go. Here is the link. It's a bit.ly. So when you look at it, when you actually open it, I'm going to have to escape out of here so I can show you. When you open that link, you're not getting the presentation. You are getting a preview. Okay. And you can go through the slides. So this is what you're going to be seeing when you open this link. Let me go back because I know people, I didn't get it. Make sure you add HTTPS when you get to it. Michelle might have shared it in the chat. And if she hasn't, we'll do that later. Don't worry about
I
it.
sure did.
Oh, there you go. So if you clicked on it, boom, this is what you're going to see. Now you're going to say, well, I can't download. I can't make a copy. No, you can't. Okay. You actually can. I'm going to show you how to do that, but it's stuck in time. This is a dynamic. It's changing. It's always being updated. It's a dynamic presentation. So look very closely. Okay, if you want to make a copy right here, Michelle has a copy that she's going to be adding to, or Moriah will be adding to the COABE site. But way down at the bottom, we have something called the skinny snowman. It's actually the more button. I cannot make this any bigger. So you're going to look way down at the bottom of your web browser, and you're going to look for 3 little dots way down at the bottom. There's a number 1 with arrows, and then those 3 little dots are right next door. We're going to click on that. Okay. And when you do, you see another skinny snowman, a little redundant, but that's how they do it, called more. So we're going to hover over more. And here we see where we can download this as a PDF or download it as a PPTX. No, you cannot make a copy of it as a Google, again, because I'm updating it all the time. So if you download either one of these as a PDF or PPTX, more power to you, go for it, but it's stuck in time. Okay, so if I change this title, you're not going to know that. Okay, if I add slides because I found some really cool stuff, you're not going to know that either. But if you come back to this link, you will. All right, so keep this link handy. And hey, share it with your colleagues, share it with your students. It doesn't matter. You can, this link is live. It's always going to be there. Okay, and it will always work. All right, so let's get going here. You know about me. Why do students need an email? And if you don't know the answer to that question, ooh, well, I'm going to tell you. So don't worry about it. All right. So here are just a few reasons that the ats are needed. And this is the at symbol is always in an email, right? So we've got at google.com, at coabe.org, at scoe.net, at fill in the blank, right? We've got some kind of an organization designation with a .com, a .org, a .net. It's usually a 3-letter, sometimes a 2-letter designation after the dot, right? So the ats are always referred to as emails. Why do you need them in education? Because you want to collaborate with your students. You want them to collaborate with you. You want to be able to communicate with them. Hey, everybody, something happened, no school today, right? Or hey, everybody, remember the potluck we're having today? Or hey, everybody, we've got that test coming up. We've got some study time set up for you. You can use the lab between hours of this and that, right? So you want to be able to communicate all of that. You've got Zoom meets and Zoom's end meets, I should say, or whatever video platform you're using. We're clamping down as a network person. We're clamping down on Zooms. We are not allowing them to be public. We just like this webinar is not public. You had to register for the webinar. You had to use a special link, right? So those are closed. Those are closed. WhatsApp is a good app, Sarah. It's a good app, but email. Email is a direct communication line to your student, either to the group or to a single person, and it's always there. What happens when WhatsApp goes bye-bye, right? Look at what's happening to, dare I say, Twitter. Lots of bad stuff is happening, and some people are going, I'm not going to be in this pool anymore. I'm deleting my account, right? So the email is always there to stay. And some of these apps are that when you could sign in to the app online or download it online, they are starting, because of this last thing, security, they are starting to require email addresses. So Bitmoji, you used to be able to download it at any time, no problem. They started requiring email addresses because of security. They were having problems. Same thing with the Zoom and the Meets now. We require email addresses. LMS is learning management system. You have to have an email in order to use it. Online learning systems, you have to have an email in order to use applied digital skills, which is a Google. All right. For employment, name one job, just one. Use the Q&A. If you can name one job where you do not need an email address. I'm going to wait for 2 seconds. Someone's typing really fast, or maybe no one's typing at all. And if you're not, that would be the best thing, because you need an email even for a dishwasher. I looked it up. I looked it up. I saw an ad in a paper for job applications, and in retail, and does not require an email for work. I am amazed, Sarah. You're throwing me some curveballs here. I'm amazed that it does not require. But I'm going to ask you, hey, does he have one? Does he have one? Just because it's not required, right? But now, after COVID happened, people don't want, or people job people don't want you to come in to fill out an application. They want you to submit it online. All right. Communication with the employer. Now you've got chat. All right. Most employers do require that you have the ability to chat, and chat is on a smartphone. I'm holding my hand. Here we go. I've got one right here. Right. So you've got a smartphone. If you have a smartphone, you have an email address. You might not know it, but you do have an email address when you have a phone, because again, for security reasons, they require an email, some way to contact you. Your service provider will require some way to contact you. So they give you an email in order to use their system, or in order to use their device. So whether you know it or not, you might, you know, you use this, but you have a Gmail. This is an iPhone. You have an iOS email when you have a Verizon email. Okay. So even the students might not realize that they have an email. So when they say, no, I don't have an email. You have a smartphone? Yes. Let's find out what your email is, especially Android devices. They will be Gmail already. Day-to-day life, banking, health info, physical, physician contact. They all want you to either have a smartphone, right? Or they want you to be able to contact them online. Bill pays, ordering, all this stuff. You need a you need an email. So the definition of a smartphone, does this mean you can connect to the internet with it? Absolutely. Anything that's called a smart device can connect to the internet, or it can connect to another device that has internet. So our smartwatches, some of them we can actually talk on them when we get a phone call, right? So it's connected to our phone using Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi. There's all kinds of different ways you can connect, but that makes it smart when it can connect to the internet. If a device cannot connect to the internet, yes, it is called dumb. Okay, we have dumb terminals. They connect to a network, but the network is closed. It does not get to the internet. So if anybody's here that works with corrections, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have access, or your students don't have access to the outside. So their devices are more or less dumb terminals. Now that doesn't mean they can't do things. It just means that they can't get to the internet, so they're not considered smart. Okay. All right. I'm going to go to the next slide. Gmail accounts. Gmail or Google accounts. I'm not going to say Gmail accounts, because when you have a Google account, you do not have to have a Gmail. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. You're going, wait a minute. I have to sign in with my Google. So what do you mean? I'm going to show you in a minute. So right here, the Google account, the regular Google account does include a Gmail. So when you go in, or when your students go in, they will type in their first name, their last name. They'll try and think of a username. Most people want their first initial last name, or some weird party girl at Gmail user ID. So if it's already taken, there are millions of people that use Google. So if your name is Tom Smith and you try to get T Smith or TOM Smith or T middle initial A Smith, they're probably already taken. Okay, so you're going to be getting some suggestions from Google. So they might have T Smith 1234, right? So you can keep trying to get that special user ID that you want, or you can accept one of their suggestions. You'll have to have a password, right? You'll have to remember that. So this is something for your students right here, steps to create a Google account. I'm going to click that. The bit.ly that was listed underneath it, again, this is always going to stay current. You can make a copy of it. I'm clicking on the More button down at the bottom, and then you can download it as a PDF or PPTX. So I made this really, really simple. Really simple. So you could download it and give it to your students if they don't have an email. It doesn't have to be Google, but Google, is one of the easiest ones to do. And these are just the steps, ABC or step 1, 2, 3 with ABCs with it. There might be some description or some instructions down below, like, why can't I have my username? You might have to sign out if you're using somebody else's. Anyways, very simple terms. Okay, so very simple, hopefully, so that any student can follow this. How do they find their email and when they don't know they have one? This is coming from the Q&A. Some of my learners are very cautious and don't want to use email for communication, and I have to text them or just call them. It's going to be in their settings, anonymous attendee. When you have a smart device, again, if they have an Android device, they definitely have some sort of a Google address. So it's within settings. Um, and this webinar isn't about that, but you can contact me and I can talk to you more about it. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back, I think. Hang on just a sec. There we go. So I'm going to go back. So that here's bit.ly create goo. That's one of those things where I couldn't find create Google, or create Google account was already taken. So on the bit.ly. So here's what we got. It is case sensitive. So you could send your students this bit.ly link. Make sure you include HTTPS at the beginning so it's clickable, or you can just give them this link, send it an email, and they should be able to open it. Steps to create a Google account. You can also click that link and then download it as a PPTX or a PDF. There we go. But remember, it's stuck in time. So if Google changes something on their account creation, I will update this handout. Yours won't update if you've downloaded it, so just come back to the link. Now, here's the cool thing. Google allows you, your students, to use their email address to create a Google account. Why do you want to do that? Because then you can share docs, sheets, slides with them. They can create their own and share it with you. And they're using their Yahoo or their Hotmail or their fill in the blank, as long as it's a free email address. Now, if it came from a school or if it came from an organization, that is not free. That's part of what I call a club. And Michelle, this is for you. So here we go. When you use, go back, when you use an @gmail.com, that's actually a pub account. It's public. Anybody can have one, yeah? So you're using your pub, you can share with other people, they can share with you. There are no limitations, or at least not many, okay? But when you're using a club account, CLUB, a club account, this is not Google vernacular, by the way, this is Melinda's. So I couldn't figure out how to describe the difference between the two accounts to people. So we have a pub account, which is a public account, and we have a club account, which is something that belongs to an organization. Okay. So when you're using your club, you have to be quite proper. And you have to hold your pinky just so you can get in the door. And you have to have your user ID and password just right, or you're not allowed in. And depending on your user ID, you have certain permissions. So teachers are going to have more permissions than students if they use the same club account. So if your students, and Michelle, I'm going to use you as an example. Michelle, let's say she's a teacher. She's mchild@coabe.org, right? She's a teacher, and I'm a student, mholt@coabe.org. Michelle will have more permissions. She'll be able to get to, let's say, YouTube, okay? Or she'll be able to create classrooms within Google, whereas I will not, okay? So that's the difference between a club and a pub. When I have a pub, I can do anything I want. When I have a club, I have certain permissions allowed there. All of that to let you know that you have to use a free account. So you cannot use a club account when you're creating a Google account, because a club account is already a Google, all right? Or even if it doesn't belong, or it's not within a Google domain. Let's say you have a, I'm going to use me as an example, mholt@otan.us. That's not connected to a Google. It doesn't have a Google club. So could I use it to create a Google account? It depends on the network. I wouldn't try it. Because they get cranky about things like that, and the network can turn it off. Okay, it's not Google turning it off, it's your network. So mholt@otan.us, it's not connected to a Google, so I might be able to create an account here, but it's better to use a Yahoo, a Hotmail, .qq, any other, the countries, you've got students coming from different countries. So you can use those to create what I call a hybrid Google account. Can the Google hybrid be used to have classes? Absolutely, Jackie. Absolutely. If your network allows it. Now, and it's very easy. All you have to do, or all your network coordinator has to do, is click a couple of check boxes. Okay, they have to whitelist the @google.com domain. So does that mean that someone that's using a Yahoo to create a Google account, do they have to be whitelisted too? No, because as soon as your student creates an @yahoo.com Google account, that means they are in the @google.com domain. All right, it's very confusing. You have to trust the magic. And if you have any questions regarding it, please let me know and I can explain it a little bit better. When students go to create an account, I'm going to go ahead and click on this link that opens up the other handout. It's green. Okay, I made them different colors. This handout is for those that want to use Google Tools, but use an email that does not end with @gmail.com, right? So if you use an email that ends with @gmail.com, you already have a Google. Don't continue. Get out of here. All right. But if your email ends with @Yahoo, Hotmail, Comcast, fill in the blank. It's a free account. Then you continue to step 1, step 2, step 3. I'm looking for, here we go. Step 4, type in your first and last name and then select use my current email address instead. This is where the magic starts. Then they will get a different set of instructions. Okay, so here we have susam123 @yahoo.com. I am going to suggest that if you have your students you do this, that you have them use the same password as their email address when they create their Google account. So if susam123 @yahoo.com, excuse me, if their password is the red phone 123, okay, that's their password for the Yahoo account, then what they should do when they create this Google account is also type red phone 123 and then confirm it with red phone number 123. All right, here's where they get a different set of things to do. They have to go to that email address. They have to be able to go to that email address and they're going to be given a number. Google also is starting to give them links. Okay, so when they create accounts, they'll have a number that they copy, and then they're going to go back to the Google account creation and paste in that number. Or in some cases, and I don't know if this is something that they're going to start doing or not, but I have created a few accounts and I've been given a link. I click on the link, it opens up another tab that has all of my information that I started with my user ID and password that I wanted to use. So it could be something that they're testing out and they're going to be doing. I haven't put it in here yet because it's not always true. Okay. 9 times out of 10, they're going to get the special little code that they have to go back to the Google, paste it in. Okay. And then they continue like everybody else. You're going to add a phone number, add their birthday, add their gender, then select next. And they have to, everyone gets this, by the way, and this is really scary to some students. It's a very long list of rules and big words. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just have them agree. Just have them agree. Okay. It's not hurting anybody. It's nothing. Okay. So just have them agree about that. Okay. So, and then during a hybrid account, when they use a hybrid account, what they will do is they will sign in with their Yahoo, Comcast, Hotmail, whatever. They'll sign in with that user ID and password, and they get to use all of the Google tools except Gmail. Okay. Can they click on the Gmail? Can they click on this icon? Absolutely. And they will be asked, "Hey, do you want to fill out this form and we'll create you a Google account?" Don't do it. Tell them not to do this, okay? So they have a Google account. They have a Google account. They're just using @yahoo.com or at Comcast, whatever. And they get to use all, oops, somehow my arrow didn't work. They get to use all the same tools except the Gmail. Now, the next question is usually, well, if they're not using Gmail, how can I send them an email? How can I send them or how can I share with them when I've got a document that I want to share, right? It's really quite simple. You just add their email address, the Yahoo. Okay. Does that work? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because Google recognizes the at Yahoo address as a Google. Okay. It recognizes as soon as you create that account, as soon as your student, or even you, I have several Yahoo emails that I've made Googles. So I sign into Google using at yahoo.com and I can get to all my Yahoo stuff, or I'm sorry, all my Google stuff using the Yahoo. So as soon as you send an email to someone or share with someone, they can use their Yahoo. So side note, I've already mentioned this, smartphones have an email address when they are set up. They do have one. Um, and here's an example of Comcast.net. They'll have some sort of communication because entities like domain providers or um, uh, I just lost my words. The system provider. All right. Yeah. I can't remember the word that I wanted. Anyways, they have an email. So if you want more information about that, oh, so we get them connected. We get them connected. Yay! We got an email. So now I can share with them, right? But before I do that, I want to be connected to them in a way that they will come back, that they keep coming back. Adult education students aren't required to come back. They're not required to come back. So this is a video that I usually share when I do this presentation. I'm not going to do it because we don't really have that much time. But I'd really like you to watch it when you get the handout. Oops, stop. I want you to go to, there we go. So I also created a text version. And why did I do that? Because I also wanted to be accessible. So this is something that you might have to consider doing for students who are hard of hearing or who have some kind of a sight issue. So a text version of videos or a text version of pictures. So we'll talk about alt text in a sec, but here's the text version. So we're all different. We're all attending school as adults. We attend during the day or at night, depending on our work schedule. We want to learn English or we want to have a certificate. We want to improve our skills for a better job. We're adults. So we come to class in different ways to learn. Is this what we should find? This is the video. Okay, now the video takes about 7 minutes. This is the gist of the video. So is this what we should find? Read chapter 7, read chapter 8, read chapter 9. Even if we're online, we shouldn't find just this, in my humble opinion. And I know you guys aren't doing this. I know it, right? So but what should we do? Well, here we go. Oh, by the way, we have entered a new era. We have entered a new era. We are not strictly in the classroom anymore. And for those of you that think that, oh, it's over, that thing that happened in 2020 and last for 2 years, it's over. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Because something else is going to come. And I hate being so negative, but you have to be prepared. So don't lose your online skills, folks. Keep them and make sure your students retain them as well. Okay, so the rest of the presentation, you can use these guides as engagement for online. Hybrid and high flex, these are terms that we use in California. Hybrid is you're doing, you have in classroom, you have your students come to class, and then they also learn by themselves or with each other online, right? So that's hybrid. High flex is when you're flexible. So you've got some students in the classroom and you've got some students that are online. So you're using Zoom or Meet at the same time that you're presenting, which is something we're going to be doing at the COABE conference, I believe, coming up in April. Everyone signed up, yeah? You're all registered? Okay, I'll see you there. So the online space, when you use an online space, and you should be using an online space, whether you're in the classroom or not, okay? I'm gonna really be tough about this. Okay, so your online space should be uncluttered It should be organized. Things should be really easy to see and understand. So keep instructions short. So this making a jam sandwich, you know, tell somebody to make a jam sandwich. And if they're not if English is not their first language, they're not going to know what the heck you're talking about. Okay? So you have to have instructions. So make the instructions short and sweet, just like jam, and have them there. Keep them simple. Okay. You also want to listen to the users because the learners might have suggestions for your organized space. Like, teacher, it just doesn't make sense to me to have this underneath all of these menus. Could we have it at the very beginning? Because that's where we start. Right. So listen to your users because they're going to give you a lot of information, a lot of good advice. And besides, they're the ones using it, right? Yes, you're creating it, but you're creating it for them. So you have to listen to them. So if they're giving you suggestions, now some of the suggestions, no, I can't do that. But some of them you're going to be able to. So keep an eye on those or keep a listen on those. Insert yourself. Insert yourself. Make sure your students don't lose a connection with you. All right. You have to insert yourself in order to retain that connection. So use video clips of yourself online. And I know, well, I got to get my hair perfect. And, I really don't like the way I sound on an audio or a video. They know what you sound like. They know what you look like. They're looking at you. All right. So keep the video or the audio that you're going to be inserting private. There are ways to do that, right? Just let your students see it. They know what you look like. Don't be a prima donna, and don't be so scared to create a video. If you make a mistake, it's okay. I've made several so far. I don't know if you've been listening, but I've made several, and that's just me. I'm not a perfect person. None of us are. So it's okay if we make mistakes, and it makes us more human to our students. Also, this was suggested by a teacher, especially when you're online. Call students by name when you're doing an online online meet or an online class, because when you ask, who knows the answer to this, that's what you're going to hear. Okay. So 9 times out of 10. So call on the students, not to call them out, not to, say, I knew you didn't know it. Not for that, but to get them to answer, to get them engaged. Because if your students think that you're going to be calling on their name, they're going to be watching and paying attention, right? So, I mean, we've all had those workshops, those webinars, those classrooms where students are going like this, they're looking to the right or they're looking to the left. I don't know if you can see me on the video, but they're not paying attention, right? So if they know that you're going to be calling their name, maybe they pay a little bit more attention. So that connect to your students by using audio and video, asking them, also allow them to assist. So allow learners to answer questions. So if Sachiko asks a question, hey, good question, Sachiko. Netta, would you like to answer? I'm going to have to correct that spelling mistake. So would you like to answer? You call on another student. That gets them engaged with each other and it connects them with the class. Okay. Have learners create questions for assessment. Why would I ever let a student come up with a question for the test that I'm going to create? Because they get invested in the test. They'll study more. Sure, they're going to know the answer to one question. Okay. Not a problem. They'll get one right. Okay. I hope it's their question, right? But if you ask them for the questions, you also get an idea of what they know because they're going to be sending you questions that they know about. And maybe there aren't any questions regarding this one topic that you really want them to know. Ooh, if you get questions for A and B, but no questions for C, maybe we need to cover C a little bit more. Group projects are also a great way to keep students connected with each other and with you. And it also fosters those skills that they need in today's workspaces. So a lot of workspaces now are going to the online model. Even my workspace we're allowed to work from home 4 days a week. We only have to come in 1 day a week. You know, it's a test, it's a pilot right now. So a lot of workspaces are going in that direction. So they have to be able to collaborate with one another. They have to be able to collaborate using email or docs or sheets or slides or the Word, the Microsoft Word, the PowerPoint, whatever they're using, whatever you have them using. There's more information here on this slide about getting started with designing a hybrid learning, 16 tips, best practices, and there's an OTAN video, best practices for teaching online by one of our trainers, Yesenia Delgado. So those are there for you. Engagement
Melinda?
tips. Yes. Oh, are we
There
running
is
out of
one
time?
question in here
Yes.
from
Okay.
Jackie. She wanted to know is, once the hybrid classroom is created, is a link automatically created or do you have to create it yourself?
A hybrid classroom. Okay. So a hybrid classroom in my vernacular would be that we have some students, wait a minute. Yeah, they come in once a week, right? Or twice a week, and then they're online. So, and I might be meeting with them on Zoom or with Google Meet. Yes, the link can be the same. It depends on how you set it up. So I think that answered your question. So if you have a Zoom, you can have it repeating like every Wednesday. Maybe that's when you meet with your students. A Google Meet, you can actually add to a classroom, the Google Classroom, and it's always there. It will never be public. It will never be public. So you, as the teacher, have to enter first before your students can get there. Okay, so they can't open the room themselves. The link will be there. They can click on it, but it won't open for them until you're there. So that's a good security feature of the Google Meet. Zoom kind of works the same way. Again, it depends on your settings. So you have to be more vigilant on the settings on the Zoom than you do with the Google Meet. So I think that answers your question. If not, let me know and we'll discuss further. So what was this? Oh yeah, engagement tips. So tip one, use one. We already kind of discussed this. So one location, don't give them 5 locations to use to get to the resources that you want them to use in class. Don't do that. And don't do that to your colleagues either. All right. If you're an administrator and you want everyone to be able to go here and there and get this and get this and get this, put it on one resource, one page, or one shared folder. A hyperdoc is just a document that's online that has links. Just one long document that has links. It's called a hyperdoc. This slides deck is a hyperdoc because it has links in it that go to resources. So this is a central location that you can use to go to those different sites or those different resources, right? So that's a hyperdoc. A website, perfect for one jump off. You could have menu items, right? You could have menu resources, videos. So when they click on videos, they get a list of the videos that you're using in class. An LMS, a classroom or Canvas, that's also a way to connect to your students. So all of these, just use one. So there's a question here. Do you have a suggestion as to have an app for something to make a written page in a way that a student can answer short, fill in the blank, and send it back? Possibly Google Forms, Elizabeth. So we're going to be getting to that in a minute. Again, I'm a Googler, right? So I'm giving you Google suggestions. When I say Google Forms and you're a Microsoft shop, there's also Microsoft Forms that you might be able to use. I'm not as familiar with that though. Another question, what does LMS stand for? Learning Management System. Learning Management System. So again, it's just a short acronym for Google Classroom, Canvas, Haiku used to be one. I don't know if it's still out there. Schoology, Moodle, Blackboard. All of those are LMS, Learning Management Systems. I teach ESL and have found that very few students have a printer. You don't need a printer. You don't need a printer. So There's lots of ways to share documents. There's lots of ways to have them enter just information on their side. There's lots of ways to share documents so that they get their own copy. You can force a copy in Google. So if they have a Google account, not a Gmail, if they have a Google account, you can actually change the link, the share link, so that it forces a copy to the students. Elizabeth, if you like more information on that, please email. It's really cool. I might even show you how to do that. Okay, so we're formatting for the user. I already kind of addressed this. Tip 2, format for the user. Know the devices they're using. If all your students are using phones, you want to make sure that the picture or the website or the document will open on their phones, right? So get a phone, look at it, look at what you're going to share with your students. And then if it doesn't look right, maybe you need to reformat it, make it smaller, or maybe even use another platform. You know, it's not working for me on a Google Doc. Maybe I need a Google site, right? Or it's not working for me on a Microsoft Word form. Maybe I need, you know, fill in the blank, whatever the word equivalent to Google site is. I don't think there is one. Anyways, test it out yourself. So use a laptop, use a tablet, use a phone. So if you have one jump off, use all 3 of those devices yourself before you give it to your students. And when I say give it, I mean the jump off, the website, the Google Doc or whatever. Make sure it looks or is usable on all 3 of those devices, because we don't know what they're using all the time. And if you do, great, then that you can format it to those devices. Okay. All right. Next up, tip 3, easy open and see. So any text or image on an online page can be a link. See, this is the link. Goes to bit.ly. This is the link. Chrome extension, link to text fragment. I'm going to show you this one live because it's really cool. But this link will open right to this link to text fragment, which is the extension I'm referring to. So I'm going to close that, because I want to go to a website so I can show you how link to text. This is so cool. I'm going to go to a website. Let's go to COAB. Yeah, why not? Okay, so we're going to go to COAB and we're going to scroll down, and maybe I see a little bit of text that I really want someone to see. I'm going to highlight it. Okay, and I know this is really small. Just listen to what I'm saying. Okay. And then what after I select the text, I'm going to right click, because I have link to text fragment installed on my Chrome. And in here we go. I see copy link to highlight. Okay, so it's the 3rd one down. I'm going to click on that. Now it doesn't look like it did anything, but it actually copied a link for me. And if I don't paste or copy anything else, what I can do is I can go to an email. Let's pretend I went to an email and I sent it to somebody. So here's the link, really long, and I'm going to hit return so that the page, oh, look at that. The page opened up, and look at this. If you can see it, it's highlighted. It's kind of a pinkish purplish. I wish I could change that, but I can't. Yellow makes more sense to me, but I've made suggestions to Google. They don't listen to me. So right here, and if you're going, well, yeah, you're in the same browser. So yeah, that makes sense. So, okay, for those naysayers out there, and I know there's a few, here's a different account. Okay, I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to paste the same link. And here's the COAB website. Oh, look at that. It is highlighted for me. So if you want your students to go to a specific spot on a page, and let's say the page is really long, or you keep trying to explain it to them, no, it's on the right. It's on the right, and it has adult education works underneath this. The text, no, it's on the right, right? So how many times have we done that over and over and over again, trying to explain where something is on a website? All you have to do is select the text. You don't even have to select that much. I mean, I could just, select one word, right click, and then copy link to highlight. Once I do that, I'm going to paste that link somewhere so that I have it to send. And this is part of what's called link to text fragment. Another way to really quickly give your students a link is by using a QR code. If QR code isn't a text link, it's a visual link for your phone. So if your students use their phones, you can actually show that right here, this link right here will open this this presentation. So if you got a phone, go ahead and try it out. You can take a picture of this, or if you have a QR code reader, you could point it here and it should open up to this presentation. Well, how did I create that? All right, here again, it's really, really small. It's in the Chrome web browser. There's a little what's called share link. I'm going to click share this page. And in here, aha, create QR code. Here it is. Now, this is really cool. I can copy this link by using my my screen grabber. Okay. But most people, I really don't want little Dino in the middle there. Not a problem. I'm going to go back to my presentation and I'm going to find that guy. Where is it? QR code here. All right. Now, I didn't show this to you because I couldn't make it accessible. Yeah, do that. So, but I can show it to you during the video. As soon as I make this thing work, here we go. So I've actually cropped out some stuff. So what you can do, this will work, this does work, is you can take the little Dino, okay, you can open up in Google Draw and just white out with a square. Take it, don't touch any of the dots surrounding the Dino, okay? Leave all the dots, but you can take a little square and take him out. Again, I know that looks really small. That's why I'm describing it. Here, I'll tell you what. Make this huge. There we go. So here's Dino. Okay, don't touch the little dots, but you can take a square. You can add a square, and I use Google Draw. I didn't actually do it in the slides, but I took a square and I just whited out that little guy. I made sure it was white because if it's gray or black, it screws up the QR. Make sure it doesn't have a line, make it transparent. Boom, Dino is gone. So that's how I made this over here. And it actually opens up just like a regular QR code. So I'm going to undo all of that. There we go. Boom. So there we go. So you've got QR codes and URL shorteners. There are other QR code creators. Make sure that you have an email for your students because this is how you're going to connect to them. This is how they're going to connect to other things that they actually need, right? There's also a bunch of other stuff of how you can connect to your students. I'm looking at the clock. We're running out of time. I wish I could do more. By the way, I'm going to be at COAB. I'm going to be doing a few presentations, I think. I don't know. But if I am,
Yes, you
if you
are.
see me, yes, I am. Okay. So if I am, I will show you how to do some of these things. There's all kinds of ways to connect with students. By the way, if you're on a club, this is new, relatively new, and a lot of people don't know about it. But when you go to the create button, if you have an @coabe.org or an @ besides gmail.com, you can do an appointment schedule. An appointment schedule is really cool. I had it all prepared so I could show you. I'm going to make this really big. There we go. So it looks like this to you, okay? But it looks like this to someone else. Hang on. Single booking page, done. Whoops, nope. See, I'm rushing and I want to copy this link. Here we go, copy link. So the booking page is where your users will go to, well, all right, didn't work the way I thought. Okay, so here we go. We've got times. Notice that 11, or there's some times missing from the second and the third. It's because I, as another person, scheduled them. So let me pretend I'm going to take this link. I'm going to go over here as another person. Yeah,
You
that's
left
what I
out the
thought.
few last letters.
Yeah, I didn't do it right. So I'm going to share again. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to go over here. Here we go. So this is really cool. It's worth the wait. All right, so now I'm another person. Let's say I'm a student and I want to have a 20-minute session for coaching and technical assistance. Yay! So I can find an appointment. These are set up for Monday through Friday, 9 to 11:40, right? And I'm looking through, oh yeah, I'm available at 10:20 on Monday the 16th. So I'm going to click that. I have to have an email address, just saying. And on this, you can also add some stuff. I need help on forms. Okay, so I added this one, this little comment box, and I'm going to hit book, and la ta 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 ta. It tells me the booking is confirmed. It also added it to my calendar. I didn't have to do anything, and I'm going to close this. Now, as the teacher, I'm going to go back to my calendar. I'm going to hit refresh because it's already, and there it is. Da, 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 da. When I use this, I actually go in and I change the color so I can separate it out a little bit better. You can do that. See, it didn't change any of this other stuff. These right here are all of the schedules, and this is the one that is scheduled. So this is another one, the 11 a.m. Here's another one. You know, I need a lot of help. So I scheduled a lot of appointments. I also did it to test. So, and it works. Okay. Unfortunately, it does not work on the pub. So you don't get that option. And I will show you on create. OMG. Yeah, they changed. So look at this. So they're telling me, here we go. I can get appointment schedule if I go premium, which means I have to pay for it. Do I really need it? Not so much. Not on this account. If you do, great. But if you have a club account, you don't need it. You already got it. Okay, so don't use your pub account. Use your club account as a teacher, which is what you should be doing anyway. All right. I see it's 12:01. Michelle, I was so worried I didn't have enough content. There are lots of other, let's see, we got calendar, we've got searching. There's so much cool stuff here. I wish I could talk about it all. I can't. So I think I'm gonna stop talking.
I think we just have two more quick questions
Okay.
about
Cool.
that. Someone asked, can you offer number of spots for one appointment, like a session with 10 spots? Like for more than one person is what I'm guessing.
For more than one person, I have not tested that out. I'm gonna shoot wild here and say no. What I would suggest is if it's like a group that, if the group has an email, then yes, you can. Or if someone creates the appointment, then they can invite people to the appointment. Can you link your Google Calendar to Outlook Calendar? Absolutely, you can. It takes time and effort, and you have to know what your IMAP is. It's a little involved, but it can be done. I would suggest you do a search or connect Google Calendar to Outlook Calendar, and boom, you'll get a step-by-step instructions. You'll also get some feedback from Google. Why would you do that? Ignore that and then go ahead and do the instructions. Can we have the slides emailed to reference from in the future? Can we have the slides emailed to reference? Okay, I think if you want to know when changes have been made, you have to use this link. So the bit.ly Google Engages view. Again, it made sense to me at the time. And that's why that's the link there. So I would use that. Come in, you can check the slides out. You'll be, that's an interesting thought that I just had based on your question. I might go ahead and add a slide right here, and I will date changes. Okay. And then you'll know if anything's changed since the last time you came. So we're going to put 28th of December 22. Okay. So if you see any dates after that, boom, you'll know that there's been changes been made, and then you're going to have to go find them. Okay. But then at least you know whether or not you got the most recent. How's that? That was a good idea. Thank you for whoever did that. I hope you learned something. If you didn't, I'm sorry. If you did, yay! You know, maybe you didn't because you were drinking some coffee at the time. You just need to watch the video. So come back to the COABE site and watch the video. You might learn something that you just didn't see the first time.
You did great. There was a lot of comments in chat that even I learned. I told you I would learn something new. I always do. So thank you so much for all the tips and tricks. And I know that I will be also accessing these slides for myself. Thank you so much, Melinda. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Have a great day, and we hope you all have a happy new year. Take care. Bye-bye.